Okay, it might be wrong to have a favorite chemical, but I confess, I do. It actually might be your favorite one too, if you think about it. What's the chemical? Well, it's not something outside of my body. It's actually dopamine. Yeah, that's right, dopamine. Dopamine is our natural way of feeling good. You see, dopamine is a neurotransmitter produced in our brain, intrinsically involved with pleasure, focus, and motivation. In short, when we have dopamine, we feel good. And who doesn't want to feel good? But I had to wonder, can my favorite chemical also hinder me? Can dopamine impact our ability to change the way we think or hamper us from stopping a habit? I went searching and I found the answer to my question in the Amen Clinic's recent newsletter. They not only asked the question, but they also answered it for me. Here's what the article said. Have you ever made the commitment to ditch an unhealthy habit, such as guzzling energy drinks all day long, or binging on Netflix every night, or smoking cigarettes, only to find that after a few days it feels nearly impossible to quit? Well, yeah, that's me. You see, I don't smoke or drink energy drinks, but I drink sugary soda. Pepsi to be exact. I haven't been able to shake that habit ever. And believe you me, I have tried over the years. The article went on to say you might have even started to feel depressed and lost without it. You know you made the right decision. That's why it's so hard to follow through. Wow. I thought, what? Are you reading my mind? I do feel sad when I don't have a Pepsi. Oh my gosh, how'd you know that? Then they went on to say that the short answer is your brain doesn't always want to do what is best for you. You see, the human brain is an extraordinary complex organ with its 100 billion neurons and the trillions of connections between them. It is involved in everything that we do. Everything we think, feel, say, and desire. Our brain makes us who we are, but sometimes it outsmarts us in a way that's deceptive, perhaps even a little manipulative. The simple explanation for this is the brain is biologically wired for reward and pleasure. And as a result, drives us to repeat behaviors that we perceived rewarding, regardless of whether that activity is positive. You see, we get the same reaction, the same chemical reaction as watching a beautiful sunset as we do with something harmful like drinking a soda or smoking cigarettes. The article stated that one of the key drivers is dopamine. The brain drives us to repeat behaviors that it experiences as rewarding or pleasurable, regardless of whether or not something is healthy for us. Within the brain's reward circuit are structures that are often referred to as the pleasure centers. And we can be controlled by them. And although they are very small, they have a lot of influence over the choices we make. Therefore, whatever we do that causes dopamine to be released in us, our brain will encourage us to repeat it because it anticipates a reward from that behavior. To make it even more complicated, pleasure experiences are linked to emotions and memory, which make giving up unhealthy habits even more challenging. You see, the brain's reward system doesn't really care that my sugar-filled Pepsi drink is adversely affecting my physical well-being. Dr. Amen stated that just thinking about engaging in these habits, like drinking that energy or drinking that Pepsi, sugar-filled Pepsi, causes dopamine to be released and essentially hijacks my brain. Even though bad habits can be tricky to overcome, we can learn how to outsmart our brain's natural inclinations. With practice, of course, we can override the power and make the healthy choices we want to make. Dr. Amen suggested one way to help with this process is to think about the circumstances that got us hooked on it to begin with. For example, imagine that unhealthy habit that I want to stop is drinking soda and having pizza for lunch too many times in each week. He encourages us to think back to our original memories associated with it. Perhaps you started eating that way in college with a group of good friends. And not only did you enjoy the indulgence and taste of the meal, but also the laughs and the camaraderie that came with it by being with your friends. Now, fast forward a decade or more to where you are today, with a multitude of responsibilities and not enough time on your hands. Now, you run out to pick up a big slice of pizza and a soda for washing it down while sitting at your desk during your lunch break. You might not even enjoy it at all that much, but you, and of course your brain, do it because it's what you have always done. Notice the difference between the memory of how you felt in college and how your current experience with the pizza habit and the soda makes you feel. There's a very good chance that it's not as pleasurable as it used to be. And how can it be when you're at your desk instead of with a group of friends? Using this memory and based information, we can start to veto our brain's drive to hit the pizza parlor or drinking that soda by choosing to adopt a new, healthier lunchtime routine. So although dopamine plays a part in our unhealthy habits, can I dare say it has the same impact on our unhealthy self-image? Because there may have been times when we may have gotten rewarded for that negative self-belief. For example, for me, I was told that as long as I don't voice my opinion, I was love-worthy. And it was instilled from a young age. So that led me to believe that my ability to be loved was based on me never having a voice in any discussion. Which also meant that when somebody hurt me, I was never to express it openly or to even ask someone to change their behavior, because that would mean they would not love me anymore. And that feeling of love produced dopamine. And that was the only thing that felt good to me in those situations. But that's not really love, is it? And it set me up to be a prime candidate for abusive, one-sided relationships. You see, the more I learn about the mind, the more I become fascinated in the fact that our brain and how we think is responsible for our life choices. And the great news is that we possess the power to have a positive growth mindset about who we are and what we can accomplish and what we're going to let reside in our brain. You see, when we do this, we can become more resilient and implement strategies for improvement, like stop drinking soda or leave an abusive relationship. So my question for you today is, Are you giving up your power to thoughts, beliefs, and habits controlled by that small neurotransmitter dopamine? If you are and you want to learn more about this, please join me at gailrudolph.com.